Friends, welcome to our today's session. Today is our fourth session under salary chapter. You already know under income tax there are five heads of the income. Five heads of income. Salaries, income from house property, profit and gains of business and profession, capital gains and other sources. And we are learning salary chapter now. Salary chapter mainly three sections are important. These are section 15, 16, and 17. In addition to that, section 10, some of the items of section 10 also we'll be learning along with the salary chapter. You've already understood salary is a kind of payment, or maybe monetary payment, maybe non-monetary perquisites. It flows from employer to employee. That concept you already know, how employer-employee relationship is important in order to classify certain income under salaries. We had discussed all this. And also, when salary includes many things. Salary includes allowances, salary includes perquisites, salary includes profit in lieu of salary. So many items are there under the head salary. And some important allowances we had already discussed. We will continue our discussion on allowances in today's class. I am going to share the appropriate slide now. Yes, friends. Some of the allowances we had already discussed. Yes or no? Have you remembered which allowances we have already covered? Some important allowances.
House rent allowance.
House rent allowance. So before that, one important allowance we had covered, that is dearness allowance, DA.
Dearness
And DA is always fully taxable. Always it will be included in salary. Right, and there is a possibility that DA may form a part of retirement benefit, DA may not form a part of retirement benefit. That concept we had also discussed in our previous class. Then HRA and few other allowances we had discussed. You already know what is the meaning of allowances. Previous class, this has been discussed. If you are by any chance you are missed out, the recorded videos are available. You can go through it. And allowances, there are certain allowances. List is here, which are fully taxable allowances. Some other allowances are there, they are partly taxable. Some allowances are there which are fully exempt. This list is there. You can go through this. Dearness part allowances we had already discussed. House rent allowance we had discussed, and quickly if we recapitulate, these are the three limits, and the minimum of this limit is exempt and the balance amount is taxable. So limits are actual HRA receipt, rent paid over 10% of the salary. Third limit is 50% of salary if the house is located in a metro city, and 40% of the salary if house is located in any other place. And you have to take salary for the relevant period only. Okay, and the 10% of this, and for this purpose, salary meaning is like this. Salary means basic salary plus DA if it forms a part of retirement benefit, plus commission if it is fixed as a percentage of turnover. These concepts we have discussed in our earlier class, and we had done this exercise also in earlier class. You can refer to this answer. Then we had also seen how to use calculators which are provided in the income tax department's website to find out how much is exempted, how much house rent allowance is exempted, and how much is taxable. These calculators will be useful. Some of you might have tried. Then these are the examples of some fully taxable allowances. This means the moment you are receiving allowances, these allowances straightway included with salary, because nothing is exempt here. Entire amount is taxable. Okay, dearness allowance, fixed medical allowance, tiffin allowance, servant allowance, non-practicing allowances, hill allowances, warden or proctor allowance, deputation allowance, overtime allowance, other allowance, project allowance, transport allowance, interim allowances, all they are fully taxable. Okay, transport allowance only for certain class of people. It is fully exempt. We'll be discussing it subsequently. Not fully taxable allowances like special allowances and allowances to meet personal expenditures. We'll begin discussing this thing. These are some of the special allowances. As you can see, they are not fully exempt but partly exempt. Children education allowance, travel area allowance, hostel expenditure allowance, remote area allowance, compensatory field area allowance, counter insurgency allowance, border area allowance, hilly area allowance, all these things. Previous class I had shown you this thing. Then one by one, if you go through this kind of special allowances, you see first allowances is what? Can you read it? Can you read this?
Travel or transfer allowances.
Travel or transfer allowances. This is one allowance. Second, you see daily allowance. Okay. First is travel allowance, transfer allowance. Second is daily allowance. Third one is conveyance allowance. Fourth one is assistant or helper allowance. Then professional development allowance, training allowance, research allowance, academic allowance, uniform allowance. Okay, uniform allowance is different from dress allowance. Here we are talking about uniform allowance. There are differences between uniform and dress. Okay, dress one can wear in any place. Uniform one wears only during performance of duty. So uniform allowance is included here. So all these allowances, what I told you, all these allowances, every case, all these allowances means just now what which allowances I told you. That means one is travel or transfer allowance, second is daily allowance, third conveyance allowance, assistant or helper allowance, then professional development, training, research, academic allowance, uniform allowance, all these things. In all these cases, what will happen? What is exempted? Actual allowance received or actual expenditure incurred. Okay, whichever is lower is exempt, and the balance amount is taxable. Did you understand? Provision is same in all the cases. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you have understood, here is a question for us. Let us quickly take a piece of paper, take a pen and paper. Let us try to solve it. This is a question for you. Okay, just write down the answer. Are you seeing the question now? You see this table shows first column serial number, second column shows gives you a list of allowances, third column amount received, fourth column amount spent. Next column you have to write amount exempt and the amount taxable. Okay, amount taxable is amount received minus amount exempt. Okay, who can tell me what is the answer for first one?
6,000 is exempt and 3,000 is
taxable. Okay, if you know all these things, please calculate for all other items. Then one by one, I'll be showing the answer very quickly. Please compute exempt amount first, then find out taxable amount. Then I'll be showing you the answer. You can get it verified. Are you doing it? Are you able to do it?
Yes, sir.
Should I show you the answer? So what you have to do, amount received or amount spent, whichever is lower or higher.
lower.
Whichever is lower, that is exempt. Consequently, in this 10 items, if you see, this is the amount which is exempt. Okay, what is taxable? Amounts received minus amount exempt. Okay, you see. So this is the answer first of all. Second case, you see, 7,000 received, 8,000 spent. Amount exempt is 7,000. Consequently, nothing is taxable. Same also third case. You see, taxable amounts are nil because amount spent is more than amount received. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Of all of you have written correct answer. In case any doubt, please ask me freely. Now you can ask me. All of you have written correctly.
Sir, second and third number, what happened is showing 0. What is the answer?
Why it is showing 0? Again, second I explained. I am explaining you third one. Amount received is only 3,500, whereas the employee has spent 6,545. This is received. This is exempt. Okay. Only when some extra money is received, that will be taxable. Okay. Nothing extra is there. So taxable amount is 0.
Okay, sir.
Otherwise, you tell me what should be the answer.
No, understood, sir.
Understood now? Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So same also in case number 5. 5 also set situation. So 2, 3, and 5. You see, amount taxable is nil. Why it is nil? Because amount spent is more than the amount received. Okay, friends. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, friends, I'm giving you one more task. Please complete it very soon. Yeah. Here I'm showing you again 12 allowances. Same way, please compute. First is dress allowance. Amount received is 6,200. Amount spent is 7,200. Second allowance is servant allowance. Third, dearness allowance. Fourth, medical allowance. Fixed medical allowance. Fifth, tiffin allowance. Sixth, non-practice allowance. 7, heel allowance. 8, warden allowance. 9, proctor allowance. 10, deputation allowance. 11, OT allowance. 12, other allowance. Okay, are you able to write the answer? We had discussed it in a previous class and today also. We had done a quick recapitulation of our previous learning. Have you done it? Should I show you the answer? Don't worry if the answer is wrong. Should I show you the answers now? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You see, these are the amount which are exempt. How much is exempt? Nothing is exempt because all these amounts are fully taxable.
Fully taxable.
Fully taxable. Okay, any doubt here? I had told you dress
No, sir.
allowance. Earlier also I had told you dress allowance is different from uniform allowance. Heel allowance is different from hill area allowance. Okay, so all these amounts are fully exempt. And they're fully exempt, and whatever is received, that becomes taxable. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please try to appreciate that these are the allowances which are fully taxable. You have to keep that thing in mind. Well, friends, now we are going to move to a different area. These are the allowances where exemption doesn't depend upon the actual expenditure. Now we had already seen some allowances where exemption depends on actual expenditure. You have to compare amount received and amount spent, and whichever is lower, that will be exempted, and remaining amount was taxable. This is what we had understood so far. But these allowances, which are going to learn right now, here actual expenditure is irrelevant, but some fixed amounts are there which will be exempted. Okay, let us see these allowances. So first allowance you see, please. Can you read this allowance? What is this?
Children education
Children
allowance.
education allowance, section 1014 exempt certain portion of that. You see, this kind of allowances are given for education of the children. It includes tuition fee for children, school fee, tuition fee, etc. included here. Employer gives certain allowances to the employee. What is exempted here? Minimum of these two limits. Can you read it? What is the first limit?
Fees 100 per month per child. Maximum of 2 children and actual allowances received.
So first limit is rupees 100 per month per child, max for 2 children. So maximum is 200 rupees per month per child. So annually you have to compute. So 100 rupees per month is annually how much?
1200.
1200 per annum. If there are 2 children, then 2400. Or actual allowances is it. So you have to find out. So your actual expenditure doesn't matter here. Actual allowance received or 100 rupees per month per child, max for 2 children. So you can find out whichever is lower, that amount will be exempted. Okay, actual expenditure is irrelevant. Fine. So subsequently, you see, if you are spending some money for children's education, like school fee, tuition fee, etc., you'll be learning. You should know one deduction is allowed under section 80C. Deductions, you have already understood that concept. From gross total income minus chapter 6 deductions, you will be getting total income. That chapter 6 deductions, there is a deduction, 80C deduction. So if an assessee is spending some money on children's education, deductions is also allowed. Okay, so this exemption will be allowed for allowances, and for money spent, deductions will be allowed. And here, when I say it is allowed for 100 rupees per month per child, child includes stepchild or adopted child, but it doesn't include an illegitimate child or grandchild. They are not included, but stepchild is included, adopted child is also included. And this allows both the parents can claim separately. Father can claim, mother can also claim. Okay, this is about children education allowance. I think you have understood this. If you have understood, now you have to answer me this question. Okay, can some of you read this question, please?
The following children
The
education
following
are received by Mr. X. Compute the taxable amount. Child names are Tom, Dick, and Harry. Amount received 300, 80, and 90. Expenditure income per month 1,500, 400.
Okay, so you know what is the amount received. You know what is the expenditure incurred, and you also know expenditure incurred is relevant or irrelevant.
Irrelevant. Irrelevant.
So how will decide how much is exempt? Amount received or second, or one more item is there. What is this?
Rupees 100 per month
Per month per child. So you have to find out what is the taxable amount. Okay, what is the taxable amount? So you have to think a prudent taxpayer, logically think. Then you decide how much is the taxable amount. Received amount is 380, 90 per month. And when we calculate taxable amount, we calculate it per annum. Is it not? Now please find out and tell me how much is taxable, how much is exempt. Very quickly respond and please think logically. Please think logically. There might be some catch in the question. Try to find out.
2,400 per month is taxable per term.
So one answer I am getting 2,400 per month is taxable. Okay. Any other answer?
Only for term 2,400 per annum is taxable.
How much is exempt?
1,200.
1,200. 1,200 is exempt. 2,400 is taxable. Any different answer anyone is having?
No, sir. Same answer.
Same answer. I request all of you, please again think carefully. I'll be showing you the answer now. Okay. So how much amount is received in a year? Totally, can you tell me? How much amount is received? So 300 plus 80 plus
So
90.
for term, it's 3,600. So
Total
all the
amount
three
you say.
children, all separately.
Sorry. Yeah, what is your question?
No, so I was asking if we have. So separately, we have to calculate the amount received of each children, or
It is up to
together?
you. It is up to you how you will be calculate. But I am interested to know what is the total taxable amount. Right. In either way, you may calculate. This is the person. He has 3 children, and this is the amount he has received. What is the taxable amount? Question has asked that thing only. Now you please interpret how you are going to calculate. Now please tell me how much per month he is receiving in total. How much total receipt?
470.
470. 470 per month. How you arrived at that 470? 300 plus 80 plus 90. All of you are, I think, clear on this. Then how much per annum?
5,640.
5,640. Okay, this is what is total receipt. Okay, and certain exemptions are allowed. How much exemptions will be allowed?
Sir, 180. 180, sir.
180.
So for term 100 and big
100 rupees per month for
80.
3 children.
Let us say a person is having, that is why I told you at the beginning, please think carefully, think logically. A person has got 2 choices. You see, he can get exemption 100 rupees or amount receipt, whichever is what? Less or more?
Less.
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 So first case, in
Less.
case of Tom, there is no issue. 100 rupees he can exempt. If he takes a Dick, then he can claim 80 rupees. And if he includes Harry, he can take an exemption of 90 rupees. So logically, as a prudent taxpayer, what he should do? Whether he would like to reduce his tax burden or not.
Yes, sir.
So what you will do? Whether he will claim 180 rupees per month or 190 rupees.
190. 190 per
So
month.
that is the area where people commit mistake, where students commit mistake. Consequently, they get less money. Okay. Did you understand? Did you understand the quest? So children education allowance received is this much. Okay. Per annum. Exempted this much, and taxable amount is 3360. I think some of you have committed mistakes. Where they committed mistake? Because here instead of taking 100 plus 90, what they took 100 plus 80, because in the question order was like this: first Tom, then Dick, then Harry. But that is the place where you have to apply your mind. Is it done? What a logical taxpayer should do, you should do in same way. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand? Okay. So please ensure that this mistake is not getting repeated in exams. Okay. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. This is the only place where mistake may occur. Instead of a 90, you take 80. Okay. Right, friends. Now, next
Sir, why
allowance.
can't we just deduct 2,400 from the total? We aren't allowed to do that. Like supposing 5640 is the total amount and 100 per month per child is the allowance.
Yeah.
So can't we just deduct 2,400 straight away from 5?
2,400 if see, now see the provision. 2,400 if you deduct, but if you do that, what will happen? You will get 0 mark. Why so? You see the exemption. Exemption is the minimum of 100 per month per child, and second option is the actual allowance received. When actual allowance is received, this is lower. Then minimum of this thing, let us say 100, actual allowance received is 80. So you can claim only 80 rupees. Or 190, you can claim only 90 rupees. Minimum of 1, 2. Did you understand now?
Okay, okay, sir.
Provision. Okay. So even if question appears to be very simple, or the provision appears to be very simple, you see, there is every chance if there is a twist in the question, most of the students commit mistake. Not only you, student may commit mistake. Very simple question. But you see, mistakes are possible or not. Just like right now, you see. So we have discussed, we understood, but then we're coming to the question part, we are committing mistakes. But don't worry, this mistake is not going to be repeated because I think you have thoroughly understood it. What kind of care is expected? Okay. Now we'll move to next allowance. What is this allowance? Can you read it?
Children hostel allowances, section 10, subsection 14.
Yes.
Given to
Yeah. So this is children hostel allowance. This is the allowances given to meet children's hostel expenses. How much is exempt? Minimum of, again, two things. A, B. A is 300 rupees per month per child. Similar, same way, maximum for 2 children. The second limit is actual allowance receipt. So actual allowance receipt or rupees 300 per month per child. Here again you see actual expenditure is irrelevant. Actual allowance receipt is relevant, but actual expenditure incurred is irrelevant. And child includes stepchild, adopted child, but doesn't include illegitimate child or grandchild. Can be separately claimed by both the parents, father, mother, both of them can claim the same allowance. Exemption under same allowance. And if employer is giving education come hostel allowance, for education allowance 100 rupees per month per child, for hostel allowance 300 rupees per month per child. So total 400 rupees can be claimed combinedly. Okay. Now coming to this children education allowance 300 rupees per month. That means annually how much?
$3,600.
3,600. But you have to see how much amount is actually received. If actual received is less than that, you have to take the lesser amount. Okay. I think this time you are not going to commit any mistake. Here is a question for you. Same Tom, Dick and Harry. Amount received per month is this much. Amount incurred per month is this much. This is hostel allowance, not education allowance. Can you give me the figure now? What is the taxable amount?
$9,600 will be taxable.
I got one answer. 9,600 is the taxable. Anybody? Whether all of you are sticking to that answer or some different answer you are having, please let me know. Then I will be showing you the answer. Same answer.
So 10,800.
10,800.
10,800.
10,800. Yeah.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
worry.
10,800.
How much?
10,800.
10,800. Taxable amount. Friends, let us see. We are getting different answers. Children hostel allowances receipt. How much is receipt? What is your answer? How much is received?
15,600.
15,600. Good. That is, I think that is right. 100 rupees plus 1,000 rupees plus 200 rupees per month. For 12 months, 15,600 rupees. How much is exempt? You know, 300 rupees. Here it is allowed for 300 rupees. This 200 rupees will be allowed. 200 rupees will be availed. 100 rupees will not be availed. Okay, because higher amount and taxpayer would like to avail. Maximum for 2 children plus 300 plus 200 into 12. That is 6,000 can be availed as deduction. And taxable amount will be 9,600. 15,600 minus 6,000. 9,600 is the correct answer. Did you understand this? Why this happened?
Yes, sir.
Taxpayer has got option. Okay. He will try to take maximum exemption. If he takes Tom, he will be getting deduction only 100 rupees. So he is not availing for that. For Dick, 1,000 he is receiving. He can avail 300 rupees. And for Harry, 200 he is receiving. He can avail entire 200. So 6,000 is exempt. And taxable amount is 9,600. Okay. So friends, this is how we need to take little care while solving this kind of small questions also. Otherwise, there is always a possibility that you may commit a mistake. Did you understand? Or any query here? Where you committed mistake? Those who are giving me answer 10,600 or something like this. Where was the mistake?
The mistake was like we didn't include all the three. We just took the higher of the two, like 1,000 plus 200.
Yeah. So all the maximum 2 children. That's why you have to keep this thing in mind. There can be further twist in the question. It is for 12 months. Let us say allowances might be received for 8 months. So accordingly, you have to calculate for 8 months. So that question may be twisted. So you have to be very careful for solving the question. Right. So what I'll do right now, I'll take you. So this is what we have understood. I'll take you to the now Income Tax Department's website. Please give me a moment. I'll request all of you to visit to the Income Tax Department's website frequently. And to make the study interesting, you will definitely find there are various things which you can practice there itself, in the website itself. Are you seeing this Google Chrome screen?
Yes, sir.
www.incometaxindia.gov.in. I'm taking you to this website. Are you seeing the website is appearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you know where I should go. Arcs, etc. are here, but I should go here. Tax tools, is it not? Tax tools.
Yes.
Okay. Let me go to the tax tools. Okay, you see, these are the calculators. Medical facility, rent, accommodation, transport allowance. Here you see children education and hostel allowance. Can you see it here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can click here. You can find a beautiful calculator. That calculator will give you answer. You see, this is the calculator. Monthly hostel expenditure allowance received. Anything you can put. Let us say 1,000 here. Okay. Number of months received the amount. Let us say for 12 months you have received. Exempted hostel expenditure allowance. And taxable. You can find out if this is the amount. Okay, so I have to give little more data. For second child, let us say I have to give this much. For maximum for 2 child, here also let us say for 12 months. Are you seeing the answer now?
Yes, sir.
How much is exempt? 7,200. How much is taxable? Did you understand or do you have some difficulty?
No, sir. Understood.
Understood. So here entire 300 rupees, 300 rupees, 600 rupees into 12. Okay. So total 7,200 rupees is exempted. Okay. Total how much is received, accordingly you can find it out. How much is taxable?
22,800 will be saved.
22,800 is taxable, 7,200 is exempt. So is it matching with your calculation? Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
This is for which allowance? Hostel allowance.
Hostel allowance.
Similarly, if you calculate children education allowance, here is a link. If you click here, you can calculate education allowance. Education allowance, how much is exempt? For 2 children,
100 per
100. Let's say 600. For
100.
second child, I am putting 700. Okay, number of, let us say you have received for 12 months. Here also you have received for 12 months. Then you just press calculate, it will be calculated. Let us say 100, 100. So total 1200, 1200, 2400 is exempt. Okay. And how much is taxable? 13,200 is taxable. Okay. What you have learned here just now, you can see actually it is calculated like this. If there is third child, then you have to be selective. Which are the 2 child you are going to input, because maximum for 2 children you can get exemption. Did you understand this concept?
Yes, sir.
You can practice it at home.
Sir, in the book there are 18 type of allowances which are exempted. Limits are there. Did we need to remember all of them?
Yeah, just you need to have a glance through that. When they're exempted, you need to remember that. Okay, I am going to share the screen with you right now. Yeah, this is what we just now we saw: hostel education allowance, children education allowance, both the things we tried. Now, next allowances we have to see. This similar kind of treatment, it may be air hostess allowance, truck driver allowance, transport employee allowances. Section 10, 14 we are talking about. This is given to meet the personal expenditure during running a transport. How much is exempt? 2 limits are there. Minimum of A, 10,000 rupees per month. B, 70% of allowances. These are the 2 items. 10,000 rupees per month, 70% of the allowances. Here again you see actual expenditure is irrelevant, but actual amount received is relevant. Okay. And if daily allowance is received, the above allowance is fully taxable. If the employee is in receipt of some daily allowance, then this allowance is fully taxable. Otherwise, this is fully, this not fully, this is exempted on this basis. 10,000 per month. Second is 70% of the allowances. Did you understand this concept?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 10,000 rupees per month or 70% of the allowances. Okay, just give me a moment. Let me share with you the calculations for this thing. Let us say this here is an example I'm showing you. Are you able to see the Excel file? Okay, let us say amount received per annum is 96,000. How much is exempt? 10,000 per month. That is 1,20,000 or 70% of the amount is 67,200. Whichever is lower. Lower amount is 67,200. So consequently, what is taxable? You can easily find it out. 28,800 is taxable. Are you seeing the Excel file?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So air hostess allowance, truck driver allowances, etc. This can be computed like this. Should I move to the next allowance?
Yes, sir.
Next allowance you see. This is for transport allowance. Okay, what is striked out? This means earlier this law was there, but now it has been changed. This is given to meet the expenditure for commuting between place of residence to place of duty. That means from going from residence to office and coming back from office to residence. One allowance is given. It is called that transport allowance. Okay, maybe referred to as conveyance allowance also, if that is the transport allowance. Okay, it is not traveling allowance or other this thing, travel related transport allowance. Travel related transport allowance, we have already know actual amount received and actual expenditure incurred, whichever is less, that will be exempt. But here we are talking about this transport allowance, which is from residence office residence allowance. Office to residence to office and residence to office. Residence to office and office to residence. If that allowance is given, it is exempt, but only for people who are differently able, for blind, deaf, dumb, and orthopedically handicapped employee. And exemption is allowed rupees 3,200 per month. Okay. Office, home, and home office shall be treated as transport allowance here. How much it is allowed? 3,200 rupees per month, but only for people who are physically challenged or who are differently able. They can only avail this allowance. Did you get it? For a normal employee who is physically fit, is not going to get this allowance. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now, here we have to remember some fully exempted allowance right now. Allowances to government employees working outside India. Earlier also we had discussed this thing. If a government employee is working outside India, in a foreign country he is working. An employee is government. Let us say Indian government employee is working in Australian embassy. In that case, if allowances and perquisites are allowed by government and it is paid to citizens of India, the employee should be citizens of India, and it is for rendering service outside India. So that allowance as well as that perquisite is fully exempt. Salary is taxable, but allowances and perquisites are exempt. Did you understand this? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you see, allowances to UPSC chairperson or UPSC member, so Union Public Service Chairman, Union Public Service Commission's chairperson or members are fully exempt. Just remember this thing. Even if it is from members or retired members. Similarly, non-practicing allowances, we know this is fully taxable. Warden and proctor allowance is fully taxable, we had discussed. And here is again list of certain items. Just keep it in mind. These are fully taxable. Like deputation allowance given to employees who are sent for deputation. That means he is working in one organization, but on deputation he is sent to work in a different organization. That is fully taxable. City compensatory allowances. Employee, if it is placed in a city, the cost of living will be higher. To compensate that thing, some allowances might be given. That is fully taxable. Tiffin allowance to meet the cost of replacement at tiffin, fully taxable. Medical allowance is fully taxable. Servant allowance, okay, to meet the servant expenditure, that is also fully taxable. So all these allowances, few more allowances also I will be showing. Deputation allowance, city compensatory allowance, tiffin allowance, medical allowance, servant allowance, all are taxable or exempt?
Fully taxable.
All are fully taxable. Okay. Now some more allowances we are saying. That is some specific exemptions are here. These allowances one by one we have to remember. First you see, this is called as special. It is so many allowances are there. We have to one by one you have to see. In fact, we'll be discussing about 10 more allowances. First you please see any special compensatory allowance in the nature of special compensatory, that is hilly area allowance, high altitude allowance, non-congenial climate allowance, snowbound area allowance, avalanche allowance. That means these are the allowances given mostly in the places where it is difficult to live at the high altitude, hilly area, or something climate is difficult, or let us say snowbound area. All these cases, what will happen? Exemptions are specified here. These amounts will be exempted. Specified area, place which allowance is exempt. So only if it is given for specified areas of Manipur or Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Uttar Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, then 800 rupees per month is allowed as exemption. And if it is in the area of Siachen, Jammu and Kashmir, okay, some more areas of Jammu and Kashmir, that's 7,000 rupees per month. Okay, here also Jammu and Kashmir, but this is for some areas of Jammu and Kashmir. This is for some other areas of Jammu and Kashmir, 7,000 per month. Then all the places located at the height of 1,000 meters or above, up more, above the sea level, other than the place, specified places mentioned here, 1 and 2, then 3,000 rupees per month is allowed as exemption. So it can be 800 rupees, it can be 7,000 rupees, it can be 300 rupees, depending upon the area. Okay, understood? Some more areas are also there. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, second, you see, one more allowance. Any special compensatory allowance in the nature of border area allowance, remote locality allowance, difficult area allowance, or disturbed area allowance, right? Then if it is for this area, like specified areas of Little Andaman, Nicobar, okay, then Narcodam Islands, North and Middle Andamans, throughout Lakshadweep and Minicoy Island, all the places are north of the demarcation line, Himachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Jammu and Kashmir, UP, Sikkim. So in some specified areas, how much is exempt? 1,300 rupees per month. Or if it is in the area of installations of continental shelf or in continental shelf of India or exclusive economic zone, if the place is this, then 1,100 rupees per month. And specified areas of Arunachal Pradesh, other than the area which is mentioned is point number 1, throughout Nagaland and South Andaman, including Port Blair and some other areas also there. Exemption is 1,050 rupees per month. So it varies depending upon the place. We have to see which amount is specified for which place. Then this thing throughout Longley, including the areas beyond 25 kilometers from Longley town of Mizoram. Then Dharmanagar, okay. Then Kailashahar, then Amarpur, Khowai, these are in Tripura. Then Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh. Here, extent of allowance is 1050 rupees. Specified areas throughout Awajal district of Mizoram, okay, Tripura, Manipur, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, 750 rupees per month. Jokfal in Shimoga district of Karnataka, 300 rupees per month. Specified areas of Himachal Pradesh, Assam and Meghalaya, 200 rupees per month. You see, this depending upon the place, allowances vary. Just have an idea. It will be difficult to remember all of them. And I don't think one need to remember all these things. But if required, you can refer and find out how much is exact. Similarly, tribal area, schedule area, agency area allowances. So in these, some specified areas of MP, Tamil Nadu, UP, Karnataka, Tripura, Assam, West Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha. Some specified areas. How much is exempt? 200 rupees per month. Then any allowance in the nature of high altitude granted to the members of armed force. So armed force allowance given to the armed force personnel. So if altitude is 9,000 foot to 15,000 foot, then 1,060 rupees per annum per month. Above that, that is above 15,000 feet, that is 1,600 rupees per month is exempt. Compensatory field area allowance. Specified areas Arunachal, Manipur, Nagaland, Sikkim, HP, Uttar Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir. Then 2,600 rupees per month. Similarly, compensatory modified field area allowance in the specified areas of Punjab, Rajasthan, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Mizoram, Tripura, Uttar Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Sikkim, West Bengal, 1,000 rupees per month is exempt. Any special allowance in the nature of counterinsurgency allowance granted to the members of armed forces operating in the areas away from their permanent location throughout whole of the India is covered here. 3,900 rupees per month is exempt. Next is underground allowance granted to the employees who are working in unconventional, unnatural climate in underground mines. Then it is allowed in all the locations throughout India. 800 rupees per month is allowed as exemption. Okay, then two more items we'll remember. Any special allowances granted to the members of armed forces in the nature of special compensatory high active field area allowance, whole of India, place which allowance is exempt is whole of India, 4,200 rupees per month. Any special allowances granted to the members of armed forces in the nature of island duty allowance in the islands of Andaman Nicobar, Lakshadweep group, then 3,200 rupees per month is allowed. So these are the some list I showed you. As you can see, allowances may vary. If you see the lowest amount, it is I think 200 rupees, depending upon the type of allowance. From 200 rupees to maximum is 7,000 rupees per month is allowed in different places. Okay, 7,000 rupees or more than that. Let me check it. Yeah, from 200 to 7,000 rupees can be exempt. It depends upon the type of allowance and depend the place where allowance depends upon the place of working. Okay, did you understand these allowances?
Yes,
Here you
sir.
see actual expenditure is also irrelevant. Fixed amounts are exempted.
So what is the meaning of modified field area allowance?
Maybe it is a field area allowance. Maybe employees working in a field and maybe as per terms and conditions, he is supposed to work in a different field and it has been modified. Or one allowance was given to him and again it is modified, that allowance is modified. It's a name of a field area allowance. Okay, so you are supposed to work in a field and that has been modified, it has been changed, you are working in a different field.
Sir, and installations in the continental shelf, what does that mean?
Continental shelf, you can say these are some small places artificially created in normally in the sea, etc. Let's say some outpost kind of thing created inside the sea.
Okay.
So if someone is staying there, very small place, one has to stay there.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so, right. So up to this, did you understand? Most of the allowances we have covered here, and we know how much is exempted and how much is taxable. Okay, is it clear to you up to this? Then we will move to the next area.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So as friends, as you have seen, these are the various allowances, and where some of the allowances we have seen, there is every possibility of committing mistake and where you need to practice a lot. Now, friends, having covered this, now I will be introducing today itself one more concept, that is perquisites. What is perquisites? Perquisites also, it forms a part of salary. This means you can say this is a kind of non-monetary reward which is given by the employer to employee. That means nothing is given in the forms of money. Non-monetary reward. Let us say one free house is given. House rent allowance is a monetary reward, but a house is given to employee to stay in. Then that's a non-monetary reward. Okay. Or a vehicle is given to use, or a phone is given. So these are perquisites or perks. Okay, perquisites and perks are opposed to non-monetary incentives given by the employer to employee. Did you understand this? And
Yes, sir.
yeah, treatment will be different. Let us discuss all those things. Depending upon the types of perquisites, exemptions may vary. Now here we will come to section 17 to first of all to understand. So this means, as I told you right now, means any remuneration to employee in kind, that is not in cash, that may be referred to as a perquisite. It includes rent-free accommodation provided by the employer, value of concession in rent in respect of accommodations provided to the assessee by his employer. So if some concession is given, that means partly rent-free accommodation you can say. Concession, because the actual rent will be 6,000 rupees, but employer is charging only 500 rupees. So it's a concession in the matter of rent. That also can be regarded as a perquisite. Then value of any benefit or amenity granted or provided free of cost or at a concessional rate to the specified employee. So here we'll be understanding one more concept, that is the concept of specified employees. So if certain benefit or amenity is granted or provided free of cost to the specified employees, that will be considered as perquisites. So we'll be learning who are specified employees. Perquisites include amount paid by the employer in respect of an obligation which otherwise would have been payable by employee. That means employee's obligation, if it is met by employer, employee is supposed to pay something, but on his behalf, employer is paying. If that is so, that shall also be regarded as a perquisite. Such obligation made by the employer shall be taxable on a cash basis. Suppose professional tax liability, it is a liability of the employee, but employer is paying. That can be treated as a perquisite. Some payable by employer, whether directly or through a fund other than recognized provident fund or approved superannuation fund or deposit linked insurance fund. That means if some money is paid by employer directly or through some other fund except these three funds, except RPF, that is recognized provident fund, approved superannuation fund, and DLIF, deposit linked insurance fund. If through some other fund some money is contributed, then that is also perquisite. Then specified security or sweat equity shares allotted or transferred to employee by an employer. If sweat equity shares are allotted we'll be learning what is sweat equity share. These are the equity shares which are issued to the employees who have contributed. So if shares are allotted, then that will amount to a perpetuate contribution to approved superannuation fund by the employer in excess of rupees 1 lakh. Okay, if some contribution is made to the superannuation means pension fund by the employer in excess of rupees 1 lakh. 1 lakh rupees, it is not a perpetuate, but beyond that, if it is contributed, it is perpetuate. The value of any other fringe benefit, any other extra benefit, additional benefit, or amenities, if it is provided by the employer to employee, that also will be considered as a perpetuate. Okay, I think you got a fair idea about what is a perpetuate. You have to note few more things. This perpetuates may be received from past member as well as from past employer as well as from present employer. Both are perpetuates. It may be a contractual payment. That means on the basis of terms of contract of employment, employer might be providing it, or employer might be providing it on voluntary basis also. Both the way, there is a perpetuate. It is taxable under the head salary if it is allowed by the employer to employees or to its family members. If it is, let us say, a free house is provided, it is provided to the employee or its family member. So then it is taxable under the head salaries. And it should result some personal advantages. So employee must be getting benefit out of this. It must be derived by virtue of authority of the employer. Employer should be giving it as a, you can say, by virtue of being an employer. So in employer-employee capacity, this facility must be delivered. And when I say this facility must be used by the employee or its family member, and family member includes spouse, children and their spouses, parents, whether they're dependent or not, servants and dependents, all of them are covered under family members. Okay, if these facilities are enjoyed by them, then that will be treated as perpetuates. All right, got some idea about this concept of perpetuates?
Yes, sir.
Well, now let us see some examples of exempted perpetuates. These are the perpetuates you see, they are exempt. I'll be giving you a list of the perpetuates very quickly. We'll just go through it. Maybe after that we can revise. The refreshment. Exempted perpetuates, refreshment. Tea or similar non-alcoholic beverages and snacks provided during working hours or extended working hours. They are exempted. Refreshment. Free meal is exempted, provided if it is provided in office through non-transferable coupons, then it is exempted. But how much it is exempted? Up to rupees 50 per meal is exempted. If the worth of meal is more than that, suppose 60 rupees, then 50 rupees will be exempt. The different 10 rupees will be taxable. Okay, if it is given to transferable coupons, then it is fully taxable. So free meal is exempted, provided it is given in the office and it is either served in the office or it is provided through non-transferable coupons. That means employer might be giving you some coupons, giving the employee some coupons, which is not transferable. That means only employee can use it. Employee can go out and have meals. If this is the arrangement, then free meal is exempt. Free ration is exempt if it is given to the armed force personnel. Then one more exemption, goods manufactured by employer sold to employee at concessional rate. Let us say employer is manufacturing TV, is giving TV to the employee at a concessional rate. That concession part is a perquisite, but that is exempt. Conveyance facility. Employer is providing conveyance facility. Employer is taking care of transportation of employee from residence to office and office to residence. If that facility is provided, that facility is definitely a perquisite, but that is exempt. Training cost and expenditure incidental to training of employees. When a training is provided, that creates a personal benefit to the employee, but that is exempt. And government employee for government employee, any perquisites to government employees being citizen of India working outside India. This concept also we had discussed earlier. So perquisites given to citizens of India working outside India by government is fully exempt. Employer's contribution to staff group insurance scheme. If employer is contributing to a staff group insurance scheme, that is also exempt. Employer's contribution to pension fund or deferred annuity scheme, that is also exempt. Pension scheme or deferred annuity scheme. So those employers' contributions are exempted perquisites. They are perquisites, but they are exempt. Did you understand all these 9 items that we have to understand? We'll be learning few more items. Is it okay? These 9 items, did you understand? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Let's move further. So just keep in the mind, refreshment, free meals, free ration, goods given to employees at concessional rate, conveyance facility, training cost, perquisites to government employees working outside India, contribution to group insurance, contribution to pension or deferred annuity scheme, all of them are exempt. Now, medical facility given in the office, that's also exempt. Medical facility in the office or factory, there is a hospital or dispensary, some medical facilities provided, that is exempt. Medical insurance premium paid to employees, paid by employer. If employer is paying medical insurance premium, that's also exempt. Books, periodicals and journals supplied by employer to employee, exempt. Telephone and mobile facilities provided to employee are exempt. Free education facility to employee children is exempt up to rupees 1,000 rupees per month per child. Okay, if free education is provided, not education allowance, free education facility is provided, okay, by the employer. Then how much is allowed? Rupees 1,000 rupees per month per child. Here you have to be careful because there is no restriction of maximum 2 children. Employer may provide free education to any number of children. Okay, but how much is exempted? 1,000 rupees per month per child. Health club or sports club facility. If these facilities are extended to employees, they are also exempt. Use of computer or laptop facilities. If these facilities are provided, they are also exempt. There are few more exempted perquisites. Rent-free accommodation to High Court judges or Supreme Court judges, exempt. Rent-free furnished accommodation provided to an officials of parliament or union minister or opposition leader in the parliament, they are exempt. Rent-free accommodation in remote area to an employee working in a mining site, onshore exploration site, project execution site, or dam site, or power generation site. This kind of rent-free accommodation provided in all these sites are exempt. Perquisites provided to chairman, retired chairman, or any other member or retired member of Union Public Service Commissions are exempt. Tax and non-monetary payments to employees. So if employer is giving some non-monetary benefits, and on that tax is also paid by employer. So this tax part is a perquisite. The tax part is exempt. Tax part will not be further included in the salary. So in case of an employee deriving income in the nature of perquisites not provided by way of monetary payments, that means non-monetary payments you're talking about, and the tax on such income is actually paid by the employer, meaning employer is paying tax on the non-monetary facilities extended to employee. Okay, so on behalf of employer, employee is paying. Then such tax on non-monetary perquisites shall not be taxable in the hands of the employee. Okay, so when this tax is paid on behalf of employee, then this tax part is exempt. Tax part is definitely perquisites, and that perquisite will be exempt from taxation. Is it okay? Did you understand these items? These are the 12 categories of perquisites we have discussed, right? There are 22 types of perquisites which are totally exempt, we have discussed, right? Okay. So we'll do one thing. We'll stop the class today right now. Next class, what we'll do it once again, we'll start from perquisite, and I'll be explaining you these points once again. And it will be better if you come little prepared. Since videos are available, you can it will be very helpful to you to prepare yourself. Come prepared. Will be starting from Perpi date onwards. Is it okay, friends? Any query you have?
No, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks all.